Plans are advancing well for the regional symposium on crime and violence. CARICOM Secretariat advances human resource capacity in renewable energy. And Easter in CARICOM is a time for religion, fashion, food, and fun. Welcome to this week's episode of the CARICOM NewsTime. I am Tosankin English Francis with the details. Plans are advancing well for the regional symposium on crime and violence, slated for Trinidad and Tobago on the 17th and 18th of April. Timothy Austin spoke with the Assistant Secretary General for Human and Social Development, Ms. Alison Drayton, about the preparations for the upcoming event. He filed this report.
A multi-stakeholder symposium on approaching crime and violence from a public health perspective is scheduled for April in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I spoke with Alison Drayton, Assistant Secretary General at the CARICOM Secretariat, who provided insight into the upcoming regional forum.
In fact, the roots of this go back to 2019, when Prime Minister Rowley had first brought the issue forward. And in that context of crime and violence as a public health issue, very much reflects the experience not just of Trinidad, but of several other countries in the Caribbean, where it is very, very clear that the approach that we're taking to crime, which is to treat it as a kind of a discrete bubble that assumes that, criminals have always wanted to be criminals. I think inherent in how crime is dealt with around the world, there are certain assumptions that seem to feed it. And his point is, it is very clear that all of the countries are not seeing that deliver a change of behavior. And nobody wants to be in a situation where your criminal today is, at the age of, let us say 15 or 20, is still going to be your criminal at the age of 80. And we need a more all-inclusive, a more embracing approach to thinking about this. And I can't speak for Prime Minister Rowley, but my interpretation of it is, in putting it into the public health sphere, it widens the discussion. We look, and this is very much seen in the program of for the conference as it's being shaped. We look at the social determinants. We look at including issues. So obviously we would all think of poverty, economic hardship as one of the drivers of crime. But we also look at the mental health issues. We look at education. We are in a very distressing situation in the Caribbean, where stories out of some of our key member states, since students have gone back post-COVID in particular, the incidence of violence in schools is sharply up. So we look at education. We look at the health issues.
The symposium is generating interest among crime and violence experts and public health stakeholders from across the region. These stakeholders are expected to make critical contributions to the discussion.
We have approximately 7 heads already committed to come in. And this is in addition to Prime Minister Rowley, who will obviously be, playing a key role as Trinidad is hosting the symposium, but 7 other heads in what, we must recognize for all of them tends to be a very busy schedule, had already in the meeting in the Bahamas had signaled that they would make themselves available and have been confirming. And I also have to say, and it is wonderful, I've never been through a process of planning a meeting where we are benefited from having the very active engagement and passion of all of the heads who are involved in proposing names of speakers, in indicating what they would like to, the element of the discussion that they also see as key to bring their expertise. It's not all the heads can be available on that day, but I will say that all of the heads who had initially committed in Bahamas have reaffirmed that commitment, and a couple of others have rearranged their schedules. Not everybody was in a position to do so,
Yes.
but we have approximately half of the heads of government coming in for it.
A website will be launched to provide updates on the event, including live streams from featured speakers. Visit our online platforms for more on the symposium. For CARICOM NewsTime, I'm Timothy Austin.
The CARICOM Secretariat has given effect to the CARICOM Energy Policy, which envisions the enhancement of human and institutional capacities in CARICOM's energy sector. On Friday, March 31st, the implementing partners of the Renewable Energy Project at the CARICOM Secretariat signed the certification of the completion of the project's soft component. This entailed a month-long training of maintenance and information technology staff of the CARICOM Secretariat to operate and maintain a building energy management system. This information technology allows the tracking of energy supplied and used by the national grid and from the solar photovoltaic power generation plant, which was constructed on the grounds of the CARICOM Secretariat. The signing involved Guyana, represented by Ms. Gail Bess, Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Guyana Energy Agency, Japan, represented by Mr. Ki Otsu, Chief Electrical Engineer of Kansai Transmission and Distribution Inc., and the CARICOM Secretariat, represented by Mr. Ian Cole, Technical Lead on the project for the CARICOM Secretariat. The Secretariat's Renewable Energy Project is part of a wider program supported by the Government of Japan to improve renewable energy and power supply systems in Guyana. Christianity is one of the dominant religions in CARICOM. Easter, therefore, is marked by religious solemnity, fashion, food, folklore, family, and fun. CARICOM NewsTime spoke with staff members of the CARICOM Secretariat to find out how they celebrate Easter. What was revealed is a tapestry of spirituality and cultural practices that show the striking similarities of our Caribbean identity and the unique expressions of our differences.
In St. Lucia, 80% of our population comprise Catholics, Anglicans, Methodists, and other Pentecostal churches. So Easter begins at the beginning of Lent, which is Ash Wednesday. And during that time, people become more conscious of their religious posture. They indulge less in food and drinks. They avoid all sorts of excesses generally and eat more vegetables and fruits.
Easter in Dominica is preceded by the season of Lent. And the season of Lent is a period of 40 days, excluding Sundays. It begins on Ash Wednesday, which is the day immediately following the end of the carnival celebrations in Dominica, and it ends on Holy Thursday. During the Lenten season, the faithful are encouraged to pray more fervently and more intensely, to practice fast and abstinence, and to give alms. And by giving alms, women sharing with others, especially the less fortunate. It is also a period during which the church organizes a series of activities, including missions, retreats, and Stations of the Cross.
For us in the Bahamas, Easter, especially with us being a nation that is very into Christianity, every big percentage of our population is Christian. Easter is a big celebration and holiday for us. Some of our longest church services happen during Easter. I remember growing up as a kid, I went to an Anglican school and our Easter services were long.
I grew up in a Catholic faith. My experience is obviously very Catholic. Interesting enough, the island of Trinidad was a Spanish colony for many years. So those traditions are very much deep-rooted in our culture. It starts all on Palm Sunday, with these Palm Sunday processions. The whole reenactment of Jesus coming into this holy city. It goes in further into the week. From Holy Thursday, when we have from the start of what you call the Easter Triduum in the Catholic Church. So you have the Holy Thursday Mass, the washing of the feet, reenacted the Passover, and then you have going into the following day, Friday, which is Good Friday. Then you have the Stations of the Cross, and especially in Trinidad and Tobago, where we have so many hills. Of course, You could not have done Stations of the Cross on a flat road. That's not stations. You had to experience that, the ruggedness, and go on the walk with Jesus. So you have the Calvary Hill in Arima or other places in Trinidad. People, so there are many different areas where you can get that experience, and you really felt at the end of the day when we woke up early in the morning and you're sweating and you're going up that hill, and it's like, yes, that I've done it, I felt it. And then of course the afternoon solemnity, Good Friday service in the afternoon on a Friday, was very solid. And then into the Saturday, we would have the persons who either participate on Saturday or Sunday in the Catholic Church. It's Mass of the Easter Vigil and into the Mass of the Resurrection. There was a whole transition on the altars of the church, and from a very bare altar to all of a sudden this theatrical performance showing the symbol of everything's alive, Jesus is risen, and you really get that feeling out of it.
On the Good Friday, other areas of Belize would be celebrating the Good Friday with the resurrection and crucifixion of Jesus. So there will be a reenactment. There is church in the morning, and the Stations of the Cross would be displayed. Thereafter, in the afternoon, the village residents would display their sawdust carpets. Beautiful carpets with different decorations would be placed in front of the neighbors' homes. People from all over the country and even neighboring countries come to see this display.
Perhaps in Belize, more than any other CARICOM member state, the reenactment of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ is extraordinary.
In the evening, it's around 6 o'clock, when the sun is coming down, that you would get all these religious people coming in their black outfits because they're mourning the death of Jesus Christ, and they're holding his casket and walking down the street, and you hear the drums and you hear the dogs howling because it's such a sad moment. You feel it in your entire body that it is a time to really mourn. And I think it's one of the most emotional components of the resurrection of Jesus, or the whole crucifixion element that is celebrated in Belize.
The solemnity of Good Friday gives way to a mood of celebration on Easter Sunday. This is expressed through fashion and food, as people celebrate the resurrection with dinner spreads comparable to a Christmas feast.
Many persons believe in the fasting for 40 days based on their traditions. So of course you break fast on Easter and you start eating a very sumptuous meal on Sunday, which can include pork and beef and fish and all of the different things that we have typically in our Sunday lunch in Trinidad and Tobago, which may include macaroni pie and callaloo. But all the meats are present because yes, we have gone through that period of Easter and we have lived it, we have gone through it, and we now are now breaking our fast and enjoying that moment and that camaraderie with family and friends. A day like Christmas, Easter time is a day for family gatherings and people come around and laughters and whatnot and so on.
Easter is also a time when a lot of fruits are in season, and so there's a lot of preparation of fruit juices, jams and jellies, all kinds of food that can be developed from fresh fruit. You have a lot of that. A lot of people use that opportunity to bring out their baking and cooking skills. And there's one traditional flat biscuit called a penny piece. It's really a cinnamon biscuit that is sold around the country and consumed by most people.
Some traditional meals are served. Most Christian families in Haiti do not eat red meat during Lent in honor of and respect for Jesus' blood that was shed for us on the cross. The traditional Holy Week salad is made of boiled eggs, beets, cabbage, carrots, and turnips. And a typical Good Friday meal in Haiti would consist of fish and rice cooked with ripe beans and beets. The ripe beans sauce is what is called dal in some parts of the Caribbean, particularly here in Guyana.
Another big thing in the Bahamas for us is frying fish. Of course, you have your fried snapper that you're gonna get on Easter. You're gonna have your big Easter lunch with your family, where everybody's gonna get together. And of course, throughout the entire holiday, you're gonna have your hot cross buns. I personally am not a fan of hot cross buns with raisins in them, but some people like them, some people don't. But a lot of our hot cross buns are done with raisins and stuff like that. And it's a big part. Everybody's exchanging them. Everybody has their own version and what they like.
The preparation of fish would be done, and on Good Friday we will partake of fish eating, most times with bread. There are some families who would actually use the bun and the fish as a meal. So we would enjoy the fish and the bread and the bun and cheese, and that would be the meal for the day.
One of the notable similarities which typify Easter in the Caribbean is Christianity mixed with superstition and local folklore.
Now, Easter comes with its own folklore in St. Lucia. There are some issues about placing an egg in a glass of water. And if that egg is placed towards the sun, there could be outcomes that could come from that egg being in the water. One of which is if you see whatever turns out from that egg, or whatever you can see through that egg might be happening to you in real life. For example, if you might see a coffin, it might point to a death of someone in your family or even you.
On Good Friday, nearly all stores are closed. No liquor is sold. There is no swimming, because if you swim, there's a probability that you will turn into a mermaid.
Making and flying kites are other deep-rooted traditions during the Easter holiday. Kites of all shapes, sizes, and colors adorn the skies in symbolic representation of the Christian belief that Christ is resurrected.
Another aspect of celebrating Easter in Haiti is the flying kites. It's a very popular Haitian tradition during Easter. Beautiful colored paper kites are sold in some parts of Haiti. Those children with a little money make their own kites with whatever materials they can find, such as plastic bags or tarps with sticks. Dégagé is a common local language, common saying in Haiti that means to make do with what you have. Some areas in Haiti even have kites contests with prizes for the nicest kites or those that fly the highest.
CARICOM countries are all wonderful destinations for Easter. From crab racing in Tobago to the rodeo in Lethem, there is something for everyone to do at Easter. Wherever you go and whatever you do, please be safe. Thank you for watching this broadcast of the CARICOM NewsTime. For more stories, you can visit the CARICOM News site at today.caricom.org or the CARICOM website at caricom.org. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be safe and see you next time.